Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again, and this time we're going to look at a game called the Tower of Druaga, and this was created only in Japan by Namco, and it did see a release on Namco Museum Volume 3, I think it was, but it's an incredibly long game, very, very difficult. It was wildly popular in Japan, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean, this spawned so many different things. This spawned an anime series. This spawned, well, a number of anime series. It spawned sequels. Elements of the game showed up in other Namco games. It was just regarded as a ridiculous classic in Japan, and it's got its following in America too. But I'm not super crazy about it. It's just really hard. There's a total of 60 levels, and I can't get through very many of them. But you have to do certain things to unveil some treasure chests, and the items in those treasure chests, you won't be able to beat the game without most of them. But it's just really hard. You basically just got to find the key and get to the door and get the treasure. So we'll go ahead and get started. You are Gilgamesh, or just Gil, the yellow knight there. You have a button to swing your sword, and if you hold the button down, your sword is extended. And there's these little green slimes. You want to be careful not to run into them while they're moving. If they're moving towards you, even if your sword is sticking out, they can kill you. I think that when you get more powerful swords later in the game, they can't do that. I mean, they will die nevertheless, even if they're moving into you, as long as you have the sword extended. But if you die, or if you get touched by an enemy, you're dead automatically, unless you have necessary power-ups. And there I unveiled a treasure chest by killing 3 green slimes. And that gives me a mattock, or a pickaxe. It allows me to break one wall, and it doesn't always seem to want to work. But now that I have picked up the keys, and you can see at the bottom the icons of the things that you picked up, you can open the door. Once your timer goes to below 50, then these enemies called the Will-o-Wisps appear and start to come after you. So you want to try to get the key and get out in time before that kind of stuff happens. Now here is one of the most important treasure items in the game, if you can unveil it. It's not hard to do. You have to get the jet boots. You will move much faster, and you cannot complete the game without them. Now see, I'm being very cautious about these green slimes. To unveil the jet boots, you have to kill 2 black slimes. And they move more often than the green ones, therefore they're more dangerous. They look like little black gumdrops, little licorice gumdrops. But there is the treasure there. The treasure will appear somewhere in the maze, and I can never remember where exactly it's going to end up being, but look how much faster I can move now. And now that I have the keys, I can get out. And I'm off to level 3. And again, there are 60 floors. Friggin' ridiculous. But again, this was wildly popular in Japan, and it has a following in the US, but it's too labyrinthine, there's too many things to have to get, too many methods you have to remember as to how to get those. Now we're facing a knight, and in order to beat a knight, you have to have your sword extended, move back and forth through him, and eventually you'll kill him. kill this one too. There we go. The potion of healing, I think, is the hidden item, and there's the treasure box again. Oh. There, I was able to use the pickaxe to break one wall and get through. There are other pickaxes that will last a lot longer than that one later in the game. I had Namco Museum Volume, I think it was 3 that this was on. And it's just too hard for me. Now, we meet a sorcerer. No, he's a wizard. I think he's a wizard, yeah. You can kill him. In order to unveil the treasure on this maze, you have to just walk across the door without the key. And the treasure is a chime. The wizard will cast one little quick spell, and you have to have your shield blocking it. That means you can't have your sword sticking out. But if you swing your sword, you move your shield to your left. So if an enemy was shooting at you from your left, you could block his spells with your shield. And that's a really hard thing to remember. But if you can master that, you can get far in the game when you get surrounded by a lot of wizards like this. If you listened at the very beginning, you could hear this doo-doo-doo-doo sound. That is the chime at work that I picked up earlier, that little bell. That indicates that the direction that you're facing right at the beginning is the direction of where the key is going to be. Not super helpful, really. Oops, I gotta go around that way to get to the exit. Yeah, be really careful around the wizards. Just if you see one appear and they're in your path, make sure to block their spell with your shield by facing the spell, going towards it. And now we have these are sorcerers, I think? There's another treasure. That's the candle. If you don't have the candle on the later levels, the levels will be black and you can't see anything. So if you don't get certain treasures, you could be totally fucked, which I think is really lame. I think these are these are either sorcerers or mages. I can't remember. I think these are sorcerers. But they're fire. You have to wait for it to die out. If you touch it, you die. This game's just too damn hard for me. And now we have a new knight, a black knight, but I'm not gonna mess with him. Now on level 7. And on this level you can find the silver pickaxe. And I think you have to lose the pickaxe that you have in order to be able to get this silver pickaxe. I don't remember for sure. I can't remember all the items where they all are. I wrote them down, and I'll show you lists of them later on. How to get them and what they are and what they do. And I don't have to mess with any of those knights, I don't believe. Nope. Just get the key and get out once you get the treasure. And you get a bonus for all the time left, unless it's under 100 or something. Then you don't get a bonus. And that time, you just need to move to a different area than you're at. A different row and different column than when you started. Then you can get that treasure. And I think it was like the potion of power or something. The game says that you power up by collecting these things. I'm not sure what that power up does. What attribute it improves or whatever, I don't know. But Yeah, this was created only in Japan, the arcade game, but you can see it on numerous home versions. I think there was also an NES sequel or something, and it's had appearances on Game Boy and a number of other home consoles or handhelds or whatever. Yeah, anytime you see a wizard, turn around and quickly block their spell. But they'll often appear in like long hallways, so keep that in mind. Doing pretty good actually for this game. This game is just such a bitch. 9th floor, potion of energy drain. You really don't need to pick this up. This powers you down somehow. Oops, oh crap. Yeah, if you have your sword extended and you're facing a wizard spell blast, you're gonna get killed. Now we have this, I think this is a mage, and he can go right through walls. But you can kill him by being clever and staying in between a wall and just sticking your sword out, and he can get killed that way. And now we have wizards that can shoot away a piece of wall. That can actually help you if you're taking a long time trying to get back to the exit, or whatever. Yeah, I was just not a huge fan of this game. Good music. It's not the game itself isn't bad, but it's just too damn long and too cryptic. In not really telling you where you have to go to where the treasure's going to appear in the maze, and you have to read some long manual telling you what the treasures do and stuff. Now that treasure I picked up because now the slimes can shoot a magic spell, and they don't do it very often, but if you block it, then you can get the treasure on this level. Collect the key and get the hell out of here. You get 1 extra life in this game, and that's for getting 50,000 points, which I just did. Now, you'll need to... the treasure on that level appears right away. Oops, got killed. And again, you will shift your shield to the left when you swing out your sword. And if you just tap the sword button, you'll just swing it real quick. You won't hold it out. You have to hold down the button to stick your sword out. But you will move your shield to the left when you stick out your sword. And that can block enemy attacks from your left or above. So you can attack in front of you and parry spells from above. But it's really hard to keep track of that. This game's just hard in general. Later on, and here's that mage again. I think that's the mage. And again, the sorcerers can shoot away a piece of the wall. Whoa, crap. Yeah. This is the furthest I've ever gotten on this damn game. But yeah, if you're like not in a hallway, if you're like in between walls, then I think the sorcerers or the wizards won't appear. Ah, crap. Dead. And there is a continue if I think you hold down... Oh, what is it? You hold down the 1-up start button. Or no, you hold down the sword button while pressing start to continue, and you can level select that way. But I'm not going to. I will show you, I will tell you what the later treasures are, but you need to get through 60 floors. Now, the first treasure, copper pickaxe, kill 3 green slimes, and you can break 1 wall with the pickaxe. Get the jet boots, you need them because they speed you up. You killed 2 black slimes to get them. Potion of healing, kill a blue knight. Extra life was what it said. I don't know what that means. But these directions tell you what the item is, what you have to do to make the treasure appear, and what that item does. Then there's some other ones. I kind of skipped some of them because you already saw me get those, and I kind of told you what to do to get them. So, yeah, there's not every single floor will have a treasure. Almost all of them. But there's more. The Will-o-Wisp was those blue and I think orange balls that can run you over, but you can get items later in the game that will allow you to walk right through them. And then there's also a roper enemy, which is this weird tentacled thing. Later on, I'm going to show you a clip of the anime, a very funny clip. But on level 45, you need to get one treasure before the other. You need to get 45B first before you get 45A. 45A was listed first because it appears right off the bat. You don't want to get that yet. You want to get 45B first. But numerous items you pick up, you have to, they are necessary to complete later floors or to pick up treasures later. If you don't get those beforehand, then the treasures can do harm to you, possibly. They can make you weaker against spells or whatever. Or your sword might be weaker, or it might not work at all. But yeah, there's a few floors without treasures. And then on 60, you have to do a certain thing, and I'll show you a clip of the very end on how to do that the right way. You have to stand at certain places, do certain things, or else you will be sent backwards to an earlier floor, which sucks. Having to go through 60 floors as it is a pain in the ass enough. But here's the very ending here. This is what you have to do. Just go to where I'm going here. You pick her up. And then you have to go to there. And then that appears. Don't mess with it. And you have to go up here, over to there. And then that appears. And then you go down down here. And then you go all the way to the end. Pick that up, whatever that was. And there, that's the end of the game. That is the Tower of Druaga by Namco in 1984. Super popular in Japan. The game designer Yves End, I think, also created Xevious, very popular shooter in America, and of course created by Namco. Amusement creator. There is some English in this game. And you put in initials if you choose to. That is the Tower of Druaga, created by Namco in 1984. Very, very long, difficult maze game, but it was super popular in Japan and spawned sequels and spin-offs, and the characters in Tower of Druaga appeared in a lot of different things. Here's a clip of the anime. This is really quite funny. A roper from the game. It's squeezing her boobs and it's turning this guy on. Well, that was Tower of Druaga by Namco in 1984, released only in Japan but seen on a lot of Best in Namco type classic collections. This is Crazy Climber 80 saying thanks for watching the Tower of Druaga by Namco in 1984, and I will catch you later in the future with another video. See you then, folks. Bye-bye.